So by now you've heard the news that Barack Obama has endorsed Justin Trudeau. And while this is surprising in the sense that US presidents, either retired or current, rarely make endorsements for political office here in Canada, it's not surprising given, the global and ideological context of Obama and Trudeau, because both those men are part of the global neoliberal center-right. Obama has also endorsed Macron in France, Merkel in Germany. He's worked with the Conservative Party in Britain, and on all those fronts, he's done so because those forces are on the global center-right, and he wanted to preserve that neoliberal status quo. Because at the end of the day, Obama was never really a progressive. Obama was always interested in trying to preserve that status quo, lest some actual progressive make real meaningful change. That's Obama's legacy. That's why he's celebrated by so many people on the center-right who praise Obama for, at a time of crisis in American capitalism, preserve the system. That's why Obama is celebrated. And so for Justin Trudeau to be included here really indicates that Trudeau is part of that center-right global neoliberal club. Now, that's fine. And for a lot of us on the left, we've known this. Justin Trudeau's on the center-right, ho-hum. But this really is troubling for Trudeau's image here at home, because Trudeau's image here at home needs him to be seen as on the center-left, because that's where a lot of voters see themselves here in Canada. In this election especially, where you have a rising, popular, ambitious, strong candidate from the NDP and Jagmeet Singh, Justin Trudeau has had to very clearly present himself as the pragmatic progressive, who's not at all that different from the NDP. This is what Justin Trudeau will tell you. But that I just want to achieve those things pragmatically. I believe in what the NDP believes in, but I just want to get at it, the pragmatic, reasonable way. Which maybe some Canadians believe, but this endorsement from Obama really tears at that. This endorsement from Obama clearly places Trudeau on that global center-right, on that position away from meaningful progress. Remember, Obama isn't a left-wing figure in global terms. In the American system, he might be something on the left, but, as we understand, centrists in the United States are to the right of our centrists. And I would wager that Barack Obama would be a member of the Conservative Party here in Canada. He would be on the left wing of that party, but he would be a conservative nonetheless. And his close relationship with Trudeau and his endorsement of Trudeau and Trudeau's, support of Obama and many of Obama's positions is clear indication that Justin Trudeau is not the left of center figure he portrays himself as. Justin Trudeau cosplays as a center-left figure when election time comes around or when he wants to get that progressive credit, but when the chips are down, when the real tough decisions have to be made, when there's not the easy decision and he actually has to pick sides, he will lean right. And Obama did the very same thing. Obama's legacy is not a progressive one. And while a lot of people like Barack Obama in Canada, because often Democratic figures in Canada are popular, whether they're on the right of the Democratic Party like Obama or Biden or Clinton, or on the left like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, they're almost always all popular because we know the alternative is just donkey balls crazy, right? Like we know that. We know that Republicans are awful, and so Democrats who are running for president often have approval 60, 70, 80% in Canada because conservatives, liberals, NDPers all realize that these are the best of a bad lot. But Barack Obama is not a progressive in the Canadian context. And his friendship with Trudeau is clear evidence, I feel, that Trudeau isn't really who he says he is when, behind closed doors, when meeting with his fellow world leaders, when, actually discussing the path forward. He's not talking about building a progressive future like Bernie Sanders, like Jeremy Corbyn, like Jagmeet Singh. He's actually trying to talk about bolstering the neoliberal consensus that has created and perpetuated such inequality. Sure, he's not a Trumper. Sure, he's not a far-right populist. That's true. But neither is he trying to push for progress at a time where the neoliberal center is quickly becoming more and more discredited. People like Trudeau and Macron and Merkel, and indeed Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton as well, you can throw them in there as well, have chosen to try to prop up this sclerotic, broken, unjust system. They see the alternative. This isn't the early 90s anymore, where no alternative is being proposed, or no alternative is being proposed on a mass scale. It's not just Bernie Sanders and Sven Robinson and Jeremy Corbyn, just crying out into the wilderness as like the 4 or 5 socialists in the English-speaking world. There's a movement now. And these quote-unquote progressives like Obama and Trudeau, Macron, Merkel, whatever, have chosen the path of least resistance towards that neoliberal center that has alienated so many people and that has emboldened the far right. It's their errors. It's their reluctances. And so for Canadian progressives, I want you to know that this endorsement is not a good thing. Sure, a lot of people are going to talk about it, and maybe some big Obama fans are going to be really happy to see it, and maybe they'll be happier to support Trudeau. That could all be the case. But if you really are a Canadian progressive, Obama's endorsement is not a good one. It really isn't. He doesn't embody the values of progressive Canadians, at least on core economic issues. He just doesn't. Now, Bernie Sanders, I think, more than almost any other major American politician, actually embraces the progressive values of Canadians. But of course, Bernie Sanders is on the left of American politics, and so we can see the difference there. So again, Barack Obama's endorsement, surprising from a historical perspective, not at all from an ideological perspective, but it does carry risks for Trudeau. This is not an endorsement of Trudeau the progressive. This is an endorsement of Trudeau, the champion of neoliberal status quoism that has solved none of our problems, but has caused most of them.